Welcome back, everybody. It is time once again for the Jackwagon Sports presentation of the weekly College Football Awards. That's where we give you your best offense, defense, team, and the game from this past weekend of college football. It was an exciting week 10 across the board. We had a lot of upsets, a lot of big games happen. So it's time to hand out the awards. Let's go ahead and get started with this week. Alrighty, as always, we start on the offensive side of the ball. Before we go ahead and dive fully in, there's two rules. If you're new here, one, you can be nominated for every single award that we have, but you can only win one award per week. And the second rule is if you played an FCS school and you put 100 on them, you don't get nominated for any awards. If you played an FCS school, it does not count. So UNC will be not be nominated for any awards this week. Let's go ahead and look at our offensive nominees. We have Oregon, Washington, and Alabama from week 10. Let's break these guys down individually. First up, we have Oregon. They played Cal at home, 63 points, 597 yards, and two turnovers on the offensive side of the ball. Next up, we have Washington. They went on the road at USC, 52 points, 572 total yards, and one turnover in that game. And last but not least, we have Alabama. They hosted LSU this past week, 42 points, 507 yards, zero turnovers. Your winner for best offense of week 10 is going to go to it's gonna be Washington. Anytime you can get a opposing defensive coordinator fired, it's always gonna boost your resume a little bit. Now, granted, Alex Grinch was, kind of on his way out already. There was a lot of people disgruntled with him, but still, just impressive stats. A huge bounce back for this offense as compared to the way they played the past couple of weeks, and so they get the nod for best offense of Week 10. Let's go ahead. Let's move over to the other side of the ball. We have the best defense of Week 10. We have three nominees here as well. We have Penn State, Stanford, and Southern Miss. Let's go ahead and break these guys down. First up, we have Penn State. They only allowed 15 points, 234 yards, and they forced four turnovers. I knew I was going to trip up with that one, but they have four forced turnovers in that game. That's a lot to say. They just looked very impressive on the defensive side of the ball. They're going to need to repeat that performance this week against Michigan. Next up, we have Stanford. They had a lowly Washington State team coming to town, a Washington State team that has not won since they started 4-0. Not something that you want to see, but still, Stanford takes care of business down on the farm. 7 points allowed, 245 yards, and one forced turnover in that game against Washington State, a pretty high-powered offense that they held at bay. Then we have Southern Miss. Uh, what a game for them. Not much to look forward to this season, and they had a huge result this past weekend. 7 points allowed, 260 yards allowed, and they as well forced four turnovers. There we go, got through at that time. And they just look very impressive on the defensive side of the ball. Huge result for them. But the winner for week 10 and the best defense is going to go to Penn State. They held Maryland to negative 49 rushing yards. Anytime you can put up that stat against a Power 5 team, a conference team, an offense has looked pretty good this season, they held them to negative 49 rushing yards. So they are going to get the nod for best defense of week 10. Now it's time to give you the best team of the week. We have three nominees here as well. We have Alabama, Oregon, and Appalachian State. Let's go ahead and break all of these down. First, we have Alabama. Again, they hosted LSU, a ranked team. They come to town. They win 42-28, 507 total yards to 478, and they finish the day +1 in the turnover differential. Next up, we have Oregon, 63-19 win over Cal, 597 yards to 286. They as well were +1 in the turnover differential. Oregon had two turnovers. They forced three turnovers against Cal. And our third and final nominee, I was actually at this game. It was impressive to watch this team play live and in person. App State beats the rival Marshall 31-9, 379 yards, 257, +3 on the turnover differential. One thing I did not know heading to this game, and it's just kind of a little fun fact here. This was App State's first ever night game in November. They've never played a night game in November until this past weekend, and that was a very fun environment. If I can just make a quick plug for you to head there, this is it because that was a great environment. It was a lot of fun to be around those fans. It was a pretty nice stadium as well. Nothing like over the top, not like a Beaver Stadium or the Big House or anything like that. I think the grand total can fit with standing room only is about 40,000. Facilities are just very nice. So pretty clean bathrooms. There was never a long line for anything. I was in and out of the bathrooms, in and out of the food stands, beer stands, all that. I just had a wonderful time there, aside from a little hiccup with StubHub, but that wasn't really StubHub's fault. It was the seller's fault, but that's a story for another time. But I can't stress enough. You need to go some group of five games. Don't just be worried about going to, all these big time schools. I have my bucket list back here. I'd like to go to every single game or every single team. But I definitely highly recommend going to some group of five games. It's a lot of fun going to some of these schools, and you can't beat some of these environments. And App State was definitely one of them. But the best team of Week 10 is going to go to Alabama. They looked very impressive on both sides of the ball. Obviously, Jaden Daniels getting hurt and going out of that game kind of let Alabama pull away. But nonetheless, they still looked impressive on both sides of the ball. And I've said this all week. This is starting to feel like an Alabama team that's just going to creep their way into the national title conversation, and they might end up winning the damn thing. So who knows? But Alabama is your best team of Week 10. And the final award we have is the best game of Week 10. Three nominees here as well. We have Washington at USC, Utah State at San Diego State, and Oklahoma at Oklahoma State, the final Bedlam game. Also, before I break down this Washington USC game, we made a video this past week, kind of reminiscing about the final Bedlam and how much we're going to miss it. Posted it to YouTube, and it's our most viewed video ever. So we can't thank you guys enough for that. We love the support and that the fact that so many people like that. We hope you like more of our content, and if you don't, please drop a comment down below. Tell us how we can improve. We're just three guys that enjoy talking college football. But we appreciate any support we can get, and we really thank you guys for kind of blowing that video up for us. Now, granted, it's not like a viral video or anything like that, but we put a lot of effort into that, and we're really thankful that it got some traction here on YouTube, and we're very appreciative of all you guys for checking that out for us. Let's get back to the awards. Your best game nominee here is Washington at USC. Washington wins 52-42, over 1,000 yards of total offense. USC fumbled before halftime, leading directly to another Washington score that put them ahead, and it just felt like the table was tilted ever since that point. And that's really what, at the end of the day, I feel like that's what let Washington, keep their distance and pull off the huge victory on the road. Next up, we have Utah State at San Diego State, 32-24 victory for the Aggies, 784 total yards. This game with a double overtime. Utah State got a stop on fourth down, which allowed them to hang on for the win. This was a great game. Again, two teams that have been very disappointing for this season. It was a much needed win for both schools, and Utah State's going to come out on top there. And third and final nominee, the final Bedlam game, Oklahoma State. State gets the win 27-24. 972 total yards. Oklahoma State got a fourth down stop with a minute left. This game had everything. It was your typical Bedlam. And your winner for best game of Week 10 is Oklahoma State. I was trying not to go too much into detail before I announced the winner. But this was a very fun game, an instant classic, and we hope this isn't the final time these two ever play. We hope at some point this rivalry is able to come back, but it looks like for at least the foreseeable future that these two schools will not play. But what a way to kind of end this rivalry if that is the case. Like I said, this game had everything. We had offense, defense, just great plays on both sides of the ball, missed field goals, really long field goals. I mean, it took all three facets of the game to win this. Oklahoma State proved to be the better team in all three of those facets, I believe, and that's what allows them to get the huge win. And now they're right up there in Big 12 title conversation. I think at this point, them and Texas are the favorites to get there. They don't play each other this season until if they would match up in the Big 12 title game. The Big 12 is a lot of fun to watch this year, and Oklahoma State is putting their names rightfully in the conversation. I will say they are only 2.5 point favorites this week against UCF, which is a little surprising. But nonetheless, I think it's going to be a great game. So that'll do it for this week's awards. As always, we thank you guys for checking us out. Make sure you drop a like and a subscribe for more college football content. Head over to our social medias. Check those out as well. On TikTok, we make daily college football content over there. We'd love a follow over there as well. And we will see you guys in the next video.